Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Honest opinion on XRP price every holder should know. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so I come across this and I thought I'd share it with you because I think it's good to get, different people's takes and just get a realistic outtake on someone who, to me, I think is being very level-headed with, discussing where we are in the market and whatnot. So thought I'd share this with you. Hope it just gives you guys a bit of a clear indication of where we possibly are. Because look, the one thing I will say about this is a chart analyst who's given us this information, they can be wrong, right? Like I've seen numerous chart analysts be right and wrong. So I've seen a chart analyst make a good call, but then I've also seen them make a bad call. And I think the thing is that when you are reading charts continuously all the time, I think eventually you're not going to just have a 100% hit rate, right? Like there can always be a thing where you read the odd thing wrong. So to me, it's more about consistency. And also it's about, for me personally, I don't just take chart analysis as gospel, right? I do look at it as, okay, what they're talking about here is probability. It doesn't mean it's a guarantee, it's probability. So I don't just rest everything, my whole theories on what a chart analyst says personally, but I do take it in and it helps me to just form my own opinion. So let's get into it then. So the analyst in question is Zach Humphreys. So Zach Humphreys wanted to share what he claimed was a, quote, real honest take, unquote, on the current state of the market. He highlighted the two positions from extreme optimists and pessimists, highlighting what to expect now and what would drive the next XRP bull run. Okay, so yeah, this is the thing for me. You probably see this a lot when it comes to just, crypto content in general. You've got the people who are talking, $10,000 and that kind of stuff, the extreme optimism. But then you've got people who say XRP is dead. That's it. It's over. It's never coming back now. That's it. Its days are done. You get the extreme pessimistic side as well, right? And to me, it's always about being in the middle, right? Because that's where the truth will somewhere lie. You don't want to be too far to one side. You want to be kind of a bit grounded in the middle, right? So first, the analyst agrees that the current market is not looking great on higher time frames. Notably, heavy red candles have dominated the scene since the market top last year, and he believes this is part of the corrective phase after a bull market. Regarding the catalyst for this downturn, Humphreys explained that XRP and the broader crypto market are not isolated from what is happening in the rest of the financial market. Government policies and other macroeconomic factors affect the crypto sector, and none of those have been positive in recent times. Yeah, completely understand that as well. So as you can see here, he's saying at the moment it's not looking great on the higher time frames. Again, an honest take. I always appreciate honesty regardless of whether it's what I want to hear or not. I'm not somebody who wants to be in an echo chamber and only hear positive things. I just want the truth because to me, hearing the truth, whether it's good or bad, it can help me make an informed decision, right? So this isn't to say, what he's saying here is guaranteed to be right, but he's given an honest take. He's not just here saying, yeah, the market's going to rebound and everything's going to be great. He's just saying, look, right now, it's not looking too good at the moment, right? In terms of the macroeconomics, yeah, of course, you've got to understand that crypto is a risk-on asset, so just like stocks, just like precious metals and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, there's been a big boom in the precious metals, especially silver at the moment. So how can you really say that? Look, this is unprecedented times that we're in. That's what you've got to understand. So yes, gold and silver have had, a bit of a run lately. But you've got to understand that those types of runs, they're not common with precious metals, right? So this is not a thing where gold and silver would typically have these types of runs. It's moving like it's a cryptocurrency. And what you've got to understand about that is, this comes down to, again, as I said, macroeconomic events. There's things going on. So people are now turning to things like gold, silver to invest in. As a way to hedge against inflation and uncertainty, things going on like possible war and stuff like that. All these uncertainties is what lead to people then going to things like risk on assets. And so the thing with gold and silver is you can have physical gold and silver, right? Obviously with cryptocurrency, it is a code. So there can be things like this that could be playing a part. There could be other factors that we're not even privy to, but to me, that explains the run with gold and silver. But what you have got to understand is that that is not common, right? So for people who might be gold and silver holders, this is great for them at this period of time, but it's not like this is a common thing with gold and silver. It doesn't run like this. It's a lot more stable, which is why people typically like it. You know, with cryptocurrency, it's a lot more volatile because you get these huge runs up, but obviously you also get these huge drops down as well. That's the whole thing about being in crypto that you've got to expect and acknowledge. Okay, so moving on. Bumpy roads ahead. Contrary to some narratives that XRP is about to take a moonshot, Humphries remains bearish in the short term. According to him, the market has not yet bottomed, and there could be further price corrections ahead. He dismissed claims that XRP will reach $100 and that market cap does not matter, arguing that valuation really does matter. Additionally, he stated that large assets don't make such ambitious moves in the absence of a sustained bullish environment. Humphries also added that the market has not seen the level of capitulation or liquidation as in previous cycles. Notably, some might argue this, as the October 10 crash was the largest leveraged liquidation event in history, wiping out over $19 billion in 24 hours. Yeah, so, okay, let's get into that then. So, bumpy roads ahead in regards to him saying that he's bearish on the short term. So, I understand that. Like, it's not looking great right now. If we look at where we are, it does look like we're basically just in a range consolidating at this point, but way below, $74,000, which was like the kind of threshold that we was hoping to hold to still get a really good all-season rally. Now, analysts are still saying that there are, still signs that there could still be an all-season rally. Whether that will happen, I don't know, right? But we have breached that $74,000 level. So I can understand him still being bearish right now. To me, there's a lot of economic uncertainty. That's another thing as well. So, I can understand here where the uncertainty can be, like the bearish, nature right now. The thing that I will say about this as well is like time frame. So when you say short term, like how short term are you talking? Are you talking about short term for the next month? Are you talking about short term for the next 6 months? What is short term? So that would be interesting to know, because it could be a thing where he's saying, well, I'm short term bearish as in for the next month, but after this month, yeah, we could potentially completely reverse around and start going to new all-time highs. So that's the only thing where you don't know about time frame. Then we've got that he's dismissed claims that XRP will reach $100. Now, my thing about that is, again, time frame. Like, if you're talking about $100 this cycle, I was saying this numerous times on my channel. I did not think that XRP would reach $100 in this bull run, if we are still in a bull run. If not, then we've had our bull run and it is what it is. We can clearly see what XRP got to, $3 and some change. But if we have still got a bull run to come this year, in my opinion, $100, I do not believe that's going to happen. Not this market cycle. But I do believe $100 is possible in the long term. So again, that's what I mean in terms of what's his time frame here. Like when he's saying he don't believe XRP will reach $100, are you saying that you don't think XRP will reach $100 point blank period? Or are you just saying that you don't think it's going to happen this cycle? If you're saying this cycle, I agree. If you're saying you don't think it'll hit $100 at all, I'm not saying that it will, but I'm saying that it's possible. So let me just make that clear. I'm not saying that XRP will definitely hit $100. We don't know. But what I'm saying is that it is possible. So that just comes down to whatever we're talking about in that regard. What's the time frame? Are you saying you can't hit it at all, or are you just saying that you don't think it's going to happen in this current cycle that we're in? Okay, and then we've got about the October 10 crash. Yeah, of course, that was huge. And in my opinion, that was a manipulated event. I've spoken it numerous times. I'm not going to keep getting into it, but there's enough evidence and data out there to see that there was clear insider trading going on. So as far as I'm concerned, that was a manipulated event. But of course, that was the huge blow to the market. That was the death blow that we never recovered from. Like the market just never rebounded after that. And so that's the thing for me that kind of bugs me with this, because if we never had that event, Bitcoin was at $126,000. So my whole thing is, would the market still have dropped, or would it have gone on to new all-time highs? And that's something that we'll just never know, right? And even if it would it have dropped as much as it has now? Because, as I said, that was the largest liquidation event in history. And if that was manipulated, which I believe is true, well, look at the impact that that's had. That's led to the huge drop that we've had. So it's a thing of maybe even if we had have had a drop, maybe it would have been nowhere near to this scale had that liquidation event not have occurred. Do you see what I mean? So that's something that does play on my mind a little bit, but what can we do? You know, whether it's manipulated or not, what's happened has happened. All we can do is just move on. You know, there's not a lot we can do to change it. It's happened. Okay, what would drive the next XRP rally? While XRP has made significant progress in regulation, adoption, and ecosystem development, Humphries claims it remains a risk asset. As such, he suggested that liquidity is the major catalyst for the next bullish development. Essentially, his argument is that unless liquidity flows into the market from other parts of the financial system, XRP would lack the momentum to sustain a rally. Aside from structural liquidity, he also mentioned other catalysts such as collateral utilization, institutional treasury allocations, additional XRP ETFs, ecosystem activity, and further strategic partnerships. Yeah, look, and I think this is the thing when a lot of people are thinking about price. You know, look, for the people who believe the $10,000 stuff, for them it's kind of like they're just waiting for that, you know, that switch to be flipped, that kind of thing. For me personally, I don't look at it in that way. I do think it's all about the actual adoption coming in. That's what's really going to drive price. Like the ETFs, I do think are going to play a longer term impact. So while you might be thinking, well, what good has the ETFs done? First and foremost, you know, XRP did get to $3 at one point, you know, so for people who got into XRP when it was, let's say, you know, 30 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents, you're up big right now. So while some people might be angry with the run that XRP had, you've still had a chance to make big profit there, right? That is just a fact. Now, would I have thought that $3 would be the top of the cycle? Not at all. I thought there was a lot more chance for it to go way higher. But this is the thing. Are we still going to get a bull run this year? You know, some people, analysts, are saying that we are still due a bull run / alt season rally this year now. Now, whether that's going to happen, I don't know. I'm not here to tell you whether it is going to happen or not. I don't know. I've got no idea. I can only speculate. And if I speculate, I'm in no position to give you any kind of credible information, right? It's just what I think in my own head. That's it. So I don't know what is going to happen personally, to be honest with you. But I do agree that what is ultimately going to drive XRP's price, it is going to be adoption. Like I see a lot of things where like headlines come out of XRP and all these great things that are happening, and people say, why does it not drive price? It's because those things are good. It obviously is good to hear these things are happening and developing, but it's when those things are actually getting put into action where the actual supply and demand kicks in, right? So it really is a thing of you need that stuff to be happening to start really impacting the price. You need, like, you might hear a headline about something that's going to happen, for example, in the next 6 months. You need that 6 months to come and happen. You need the actual utility to be working and, you know, active. That's what's going to start to help. Because, for example, if you talk about like DeFi, for example, if DeFi starts kicking in and you get a load of DeFi companies and then XRP is being locked up for DeFi and stuff like that, it's affecting the supply and the demand. So as more things happen and then more, you know, companies and people want to get a hold of XRP, then there's less available because it's being utilized for different things. So you've got people who are just holding it in cold storage wallets. You might have, you know, companies who have got it in the treasury on their balance sheet, or banks that are just holding some. And so there's less available. And so because of that, the price has to go up, right? Because the demand is there, but the supply isn't quite there. So they have to be willing to pay more to get it because the demand is higher. So really, you do need these things to be coming into play. So yes, don't get me wrong. When it comes to bull runs, there's none of this that really matters. I will say that. You know, it is a thing of, if you're in just a bull run, it's just euphoria. Like when it comes to a bull run, ultimately what is happening is people are taking profits from Bitcoin and cycling it into other cryptos, and then other people are getting excited because they're seeing the prices go up. So then they all jump in and start buying in as well because they want to try and make some money. And that just ultimately keeps driving the price higher and higher until ultimately the people have got their money out of that crypto. They then sell that crypto, and then obviously it drops dramatically again, and then they cycle it into another crypto. So just a quick example. You put it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the main crypto. So you run out of Bitcoin. Bitcoin hits a new all-time high. You're like, okay, I'm happy with this. A load of people take their profits. Now, because of that, the price starts to fall. Also, people who are leveraged are now getting they're now getting called, margin called, because it's dropping below their leverage amount that they was allowed to keep. So now they're getting wiped out as well, and it causes a cascade effect, and then people also panic sell. They then put that money into, let's just say, Ethereum. They then have Ethereum going up high. Then all these people chase the green candle, right? So they all start chasing Ethereum now because it's going up in price, and they're hoping that's the next big thing. It does go up, it does go up, it does go up. Eventually they get to a price point that they're happy with, they sell. Once again, the same thing happens with Bitcoin. The price starts to drop. You hit the leverage people as well who get wiped out. And then again, you go into another crypto. So then you go into XRP and you just rinse and repeat. And that's why, a bull run happens. It's just money just being cycled into different cryptos and people are just getting as much money as they can. That's basically what it is. So that's really the difference between what we're talking about, like in terms of like long-term value and just the mania of a bull run. So with a bull run, it's just, it is just literally people chasing green candles. That's basically what it is. And people cycling money into different cryptos to make as much money as they can. Whereas when we're talking about like long-term value, and this is where we talk about it kind of like you would a stock, for example, like what's going to keep these cryptos here long-term. It's knowing that these cryptos are going to be doing things. It's that utility where people are looking at these cryptos now and saying, well, the things that this crypto can do is going to change the world. So we want to hold this on our balance sheet because we think it's valuable. So people will then want to buy it, right? And that will obviously raise the price. So in regards to the bull run, obviously we'll just have to see what's going to happen. But I can understand that right now, looking in the short term, it's not looking good. I can understand that completely. But whether this is going to be, when you say short term, are you talking short term as in this year? Are you talking short term this month? Are you talking short term this week? I don't know. He's not made that clear. But yeah, like I thought I'd share this with you because I do understand what he's saying here. Like the macroeconomics right now is just a shambles, to be honest with you. There's so much uncertainty going on. And again, like just speaking about silver and gold is kind of, is kind of to my point. Like so much uncertainty is happening. It's crazy that silver and gold have like rallied the way they have because that's just not normal. So that just shows you how crazy the market is right now and how uncertain things are. So it really is just one of these things where we've just got to see how things pan out. But I just thought I'd show you this because, this guy's saying, look, at the moment on the short time frame, it's not looking great. I just wanted to share that with you. That's the most important point that I'm just trying to show you. But I don't know how long that can take. There's some analysts that I see that say this year we are still going to have a bull run. Again, I don't know if that's true. I'm just letting you know things that I'm seeing. I hope so. I thought it was going to happen last year. It's crazy, but we had that liquidation event. So clearly that had a huge impact. So, at this point, it's just anyone's guess, right? But fingers crossed we can get over this, still get our, our alt season rally in 2026. And at least then we get to, may have been a bit delayed, but we still get to get our moment and get our reward. Fingers crossed, but I'm not in any position to tell you what's going to happen here. I really don't know for sure. So we'll just have to see how things go. But before I share this with you, just to give you a realistic outlook of what's going on. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.